Welcome, everybody. It is a Wednesday show here on Brett Breaks Things. Things are moving fast here around the show. We will be taking Monday off, not Friday. I warned you of a possible day off Friday. That's not true. We'll be here Friday. It's the Monday following that we will be off. Some things are moving very rapidly. We'll keep you abreast of the situation as it gets finalized. But needless to say, there isn't anything we're doing at this show that is not that doesn't start with you, the audience, and it is growing and it is getting loyal. And I want to thank you guys so much. We hit 50 shows a few shows ago. None of it's possible without you, without Scotty. None of it's possible. And I want to thank all of you very, very much. And we'll let you know what's going on as soon as it's all finalized. But we will be off Monday. All right, so I told you yesterday we were on a heater. No Trump, no Epstein for a while. We're going to break that today. We got to do it. Too much is developing. And we're going to hear from Donnie on a few different things, and we're going to get into just a few more Epstein/Maxwell details. We're not going to spend the whole show on it. We're just going to keep you abreast. We're just going to keep you up to date on it. There's a new Wall Street Journal report, and I know you've heard about Maxwell being moved. So we're going to get into all that, and then there's some more developing news on that as well, and we want to get to the details on that. But we're going to start with the distraction. We're going to start with the actual witch hunt. Donnie's been the victim his whole life, right? He's been a victim his whole life. But especially since he's entered the political arena, he is a victim. Everybody hates Trump. Everybody's a never-Trumper. The DOJ has been weaponized against him. The courts have been weaponized against him. The media has been weaponized against him. Everything he's ever done, it's been a witch hunt. The Russia thing, witch hunt. All of it, witch hunt. J6, witch hunt. All of it, witch hunt, in his words. Those weren't witch hunts. The man craps on the Constitution constantly and then calls it a witch hunt when you try to hold him accountable. And now that he's in power, now that his DOJ is in power, his FBI is in power, the actual witch hunts are going to begin. And the biggest one right now, the one that he feels has the best chance to push the American public off the Epstein thing as they start to cover their tracks and adjust that whole situation, he wants to push you off of that. He wants to push you off of that with this Obama administration witch hunt concerning the intelligence community analysis that, yes, Russia did interfere with the 2016 election, okay? And he's going full bore, but not him, right? He doesn't know much about it. He doesn't know much about anything, right? It's the DOJ, Pam Bondi. She's doing a great job. I don't know. She's got something cooking. We'll see what Pam does about this, right? He doesn't know nothing about nothing, right? Nothing happens in his administration without his say so. We've heard Cohen talk about it. Not one decision concerning Trump in any way gets made without his stamp of approval. Nothing. Not one decision. So you better just get it straight in your head right now. Every time he talks about, I don't know about it. I don't know about Ghislaine being moved, but it's a normal thing. I don't know about charges that may be brought up against Obama officials, but maybe they deserve it. I don't know about this. I don't know about that, but all of it's under his supervision, his direction. And this Obama thing is moving forward, but it's moving off of Obama. The focus is moving off of Obama because even he himself had said, yeah, well, my Supreme Court decision about immunity, that helps him. He owes me big. Yes, Obama cannot be indicted for any presidential decisions made while in office. That's it. So they're starting to shift focus off Obama himself and onto the officials around him at the time, 2016, 2017.
President Trump's political retribution taking a new turn. A source confirms to CNN that Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation. The probe comes after Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election. A review of that investigation shows Gabbard's claims conflate and misrepresent some of what the intel community actually concluded. With us now, CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson. Counselor, thank you for being with us. First, the basics. What does it mean if Pam Bondi is launching a grand jury investigation?
What it means is that a grand jury, good morning, John, will convene. A grand jury consists generally of 23 members. A simple majority would have to vote out an indictment. An indictment is an accusation accusing someone of a crime. In a grand jury, it's run by the prosecution. The prosecution presents evidence, and generally speaking, the grand jury does what the prosecution expects it to do. There's two real things to look for. Number one, is there reasonable cause to believe that a crime was committed? And number two, did the subject or subjects of that proceeding committed?
Is it clear to you what crime they're really even investigating here?
It is not clear at all.
It's not clear what crime exactly they may have committed. Now, a lot of you are starting to get up to date on the details of this. You're starting to get a clear picture of what they're accusing Obama of having done. And I have brought you the facts of the case. The facts of what happened, which was there was an initial intelligence community analysis that found that Russia did not hack the election machines. That was the first ICA, intelligence community analysis. Russia did not hack the machines. Then there was another intelligence community analysis that shifted gears and specifically focused on, did Russia try to interfere in the election by hacking Democratic emails and sowing misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, falsehoods, lies on social media and other outlets? And that ICA came back, yes, they did. That was the Obama administration carrying out releasing the details of an intelligence community analysis saying, yes, Russia tried to interfere under Obama. That analysis came out. Then Marco Rubio's investigation co-signed that analysis. Yes, Lil Marco, his golden boy now, Lil Marco, who he mentioned when asked, well, could J.D. Vance be the next, if you don't run again, who's going to be the guy to carry the torch for MAGA? Is it going to be J.D. Vance? Who's it going to be? He said, J.D. Vance is the clear runner, but man, don't forget about Lil Marco. He didn't say Lil this time. He's being respectful now that Marco's doing his bidding right in lockstep. He said, yeah, don't forget about Marco Rubio. He's doing an amazing job, blah, blah, blah. But at the time, Lil Marco, his investigation found, yes, Russia interfered in the election. Russia hacked Democratic emails, and Russia sowed misinformation and disinformation. The Mueller report doubled down on their doubling down. Everybody found out. Everybody found, yes. Well, Tulsi has decided that was a coup attempt. That was an attempt to delegitimize Trump's victory. Okay? Now, you remember that strike force she talked about, the DOJ strike force, tasked with uncovering the Obama treasonous conspiracy. Well, what you're seeing now, okay, this grand jury probe, this is the result of that strike force. Gabbard, she declassified a bunch of files involving the administration's intelligence community analysis. Then those declassified files were poured over by the strike force, and now it results in a grand jury probe. And they have the authority to issue subpoenas, and they have the authority to actually return with criminal indictments. Specifically, Brennan and Comey. They're right in the crosshairs of this grand jury probe. Right in the crosshairs. And they're also pointing towards John Durham's 2023 report, commissioned by Trump's first administration. And it did find significant flaws in the FBI's investigation, but it found no evidence of criminal misconduct. So even their own report, their own commission, directed by John Durham to find the crimes in this 2017 ICA out of Obama, came back with actually there's no crimes. But they're gonna look at some of the findings. They're gonna point to some of the findings in the Durham report. Tulsi's claims is that she released emails, okay, that showed how Obama knew Russians had not hacked state election systems. This is where she's conflating things. This is where she even gets confused. She claims she released emails that showed how Obama officials knew the Russians didn't hack election machines. Nobody's disputing that. Nobody's disputing that. Obama's ICA, his initial one, found, indeed, they did not hack the election machines. But this is what she's pointing to. She's saying, no. Obama corroborated that report. He went forward with this is the truth. He pointed towards that Trump isn't really your president because the Russians hacked the election machines. It's a red herring. It's a red herring. Even Obama's ICA said no, they did not. And then Obama came out right after the election and said, Trump won the election. He didn't mention the Russians. He didn't mention hacking. He didn't even mention the disinformation and the misinformation on social media, Facebook, and other places. He didn't mention any of it. He came out and said, look, Trump won. No evidence of any interference with the machines. So this whole thing is a red herring, to be perfectly honest with you. It really is. But they're going to waste your tax dollars, and they're going to waste your time, and they're going to subpoena these people, and they're going to have depositions, and they're going to get in their face, and you're going to see Republicans attacking these people, asking crazy questions, accusing them of things, trying to get them under oath, with anything that might be damning to themselves. But we know how these hearings go. We know how these things go. It's contentious. People avoid questions. These senators, they hurl accusations out of left field, crazy stuff that doesn't make any sense, just to give sound bites, just to give the media something to bite on. We know how these things go, and it's going to continue. It's going to go forward. Trump talked about it.
Yeah, Mr. President, you've talked about you want success, not retribution. The Justice Department now tapping a grand jury to look into the intelligence community's assessment of what was happening with Russia. Is that you have nothing to do with directing the Justice Department?
No, I have nothing to do. Pam is doing a great job. I have nothing to do with it. I will tell you this. They deserve it. I was happy to hear it. I actually read it just like you did. I have nothing to do with it. But what they did in the election, what they did in even the last election, but it was too big to rig. But what they did in the 2020 election is
Watch Kernan's
grotesque.
scramble.
I mean, that was a rigged election, 100%.
Okay, we can't relitigate that. We can't relitigate that.
No, we're back to rigging again. Well, you can use it because everyone knows it.
Yeah, we are.
You know what? A year ago, you would have been upset if I said it. Today, it's different. I say it all the time. It was a rigged election. It was 100% rigged.
We can't relitigate because it.
And I'm sure that's going to be brought up.
Independent sources, even your Justice Department. But then I'm bringing up Bill Barr. But even they decided that there were things that happened, but nothing that would have swayed it.
Well, they were wrong, and Bill Barr was wrong.
He's scrambling. Look, you let him on your show. Don't scramble now. Don't fump for now. Don't try to mitigate the damage now. You let that big liar on your show, Squawk Box. Hey, Kernan's like, no, we can't do that. Yeah, because Fox got sued for $757 million over that lie. And they don't want any part of it, but you let him on. You let him on. And he said, well, I couldn't say it then, but I can say it now because everybody knows it's the truth. That's actually the opposite of reality, Don. We all know that it wasn't rigged. It's been litigated. It's been decided. People have been sued over it. Well, I could say it now. You'd get mad at me a year ago, but I could say it now. No, Don. But you know what? They get what they deserve. Squawk Box wants to put you live on the air. They get whatever. They deserve whatever comes out of your mouth. Sorry. If Don called into my show, I don't know if I'd take him. I can't survive a lawsuit. I don't know why anybody would let him on live. You got to preempt that guy. You can't just let him on live. We're going to keep digging into this. There's more analysis from people who know about these things. Okay, there's more analysis. There's more fallout, more opinions. We're going to get just slightly into it a little bit more next segment.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Brett breaks things, fighting for America one mic drop at a time.
Take us, Ken, exactly through what the Trump administration is trying to do here.
Well, that question can be answered on many levels, Chris. I think one thing that the Trump administration is trying to do is throw a bone to their supporters, many of whom believe legitimately in their hearts that people involved in the Biden and Obama administrations committed crimes and should be in prison. They believe that. There's no evidence to support that. And in fact, what's happening here is quite troubling. You know, it doesn't take a lot of predication to open a criminal investigation. That's really not the significance of this. To me, the significance is that the administration leaked it, almost issued a press release to Fox News. That's not supposed to happen. It's fine for grand juries to re-examine. In this case, this has been investigated ad infinitum, including by a special counsel appointed by Donald Trump. But it's not unheard of for people to take another look at a closed criminal investigation. What's unheard of is for that to be leaked. It's to embarrass people publicly. And also, just the fact of the investigation is going to cause people to have to pay legal fees, perhaps talk to FBI agents, perhaps appear before a grand jury, all of which, again, has been previously investigated by a special counsel, John Durham, appointed by Donald Trump. He looked exhaustively at all these issues, and it was very clear to everyone who watched that investigation that he would have charged anybody he thought violated the law, and he did not charge any of the main players. In fact, he didn't even address this whole issue of the intelligence community assessment on Russian interference in his final report, even though he looked very closely at that issue.
Yeah, didn't even include it. And yeah, why would they leak this? These things don't usually get leaked, right? They just happen. Like a grand jury probe into these things, the subpoenas, they happen, right? You don't really catch wind of it until somebody shows up in front of somebody under oath, and you start to catch wind of what they're doing. But for they themselves to leak it, it's obvious it's just political theater, right? They are literally trying to push you off the Epstein thing. They've got this House recess right now, and the Democrats, their goal is to keep Epstein fresh in your mind. So keep your rage fresh, your anger fresh and accessible. Trump administration's goal is to make you forget about it. And we're going to go forward with subpoenas, possible indictments. We're going to attack Obama era officials, and we're going to leak our own investigations. We're going to leak our own grand jury probe. We're going to talk about it on all these outlets, whatever it takes to make you forget that Trump might be in those files. Whatever it takes to make you forget that Trump's own DOJ and FBI, the key players within them, have for years been banging the drum that the Democrats are covering something up in concerns with Epstein. If we get in office, if we get power, we are going to release everything. We're going to hold them all accountable. All the pedophiles are going to go down. They said it for years, to anybody who would listen, and now all of a sudden, no files, no list, no evidence, nothing. So they got to push you off of it. They got to do everything they can to push you off of it. Here's Tulsi.
You said there was irrefutable evidence that Obama was the mastermind of this intelligence manipulation and the perpetuation of the Russia hoax. What is that irrefutable evidence for our viewers tonight?
Yeah, Laura, you know, as you were playing those clips of these people like Morning Joe seemingly befuddled, saying that by no account is any of this true, I would challenge them to see if they've actually read the documents, every single page of the documents that we've released over the last couple of weeks. If not, go to odni.gov, G-O-V. It's all right there for anyone to see. And those who go in and read this will see how President Obama directed that a National Security Council meeting be called to talk about Russia, that the report that came out of that meeting was filled with tasks that were delivered by James Clapper's assistant to John Brennan and to other elements of the intelligence community. John Brennan was the head of the CIA at the time, all saying per the president's direction, per the president's order. And very specifically, they were tasked to create an intelligence assessment that detailed how Moscow tried to influence the election, not if, but how. And this was the beginning of this manufactured intelligence assessment where they knowingly wrote things in this assessment that were false. And they
She was asked, what irrefutable evidence do you have? And she began spinning, offered no irrefutable evidence. And even with her own wording, not if the Russians tried to hack or tried to influence, but how the Russians did it. Because even Lil Marco's investigation confirms they tried. So not if, how. And she's saying, if you try to parse that, you try to disseminate that, you try to disseminate the difference there, that's treason. You try to find any nuance between the initial ICA and the secondary concerning the misinformation, disinformation, and the hacked Democratic emails. If you try to disseminate the difference, it's treason. Treason. Straight to sixth gear. Treason. She continues.
Together, and this is documented in what we released, all coming together to create this lie with the intent of delegitimizing the duly elected president of the United States because the person they wanted to win actually lost. And the American people made their own choice in spite of everything that happened in that 2016 election, and they chose Donald Trump. This was not a one-off thing. This wasn't just, oh, well, they fudged the lines.
Okay, all right, shut up, Tulsi. Despite everything that happened in that 2016 election, he won. You mean in part because of the things that happened? They weren't doing it for Hillary. They were doing it for Don. She said, oh, well, he won despite everything that happened. The American people spoke. What are you talking about? Even Lil Marco, his investigation confirmed without a doubt that it was Don's team that they were trying to help. They wanted their secret agent Trump in the White House. They wanted the guy that they had compromised on in the White House, allegedly. They wanted their mole, they wanted their secret agent in the White House, and they got it. So she's sitting there saying, hey, despite all the crazy, whatever happened, whatever Obama tried to do, all that treason, he still got in. No, not despite, partly because of the Russian interference, Don got in. That's quite a stretch, Tulsi. That is some serious mental gymnastics you're doing. And you expect the Fox viewers to do. Well, they're not that limber. I promise you. I promise you. All right. We got to keep it moving. That's what they're trying to distract you with. But what they're trying to distract you from are more Maxwell, Epstein details. Okay? And we've got them. We've got them. As the situation is unfolding, progressing, you've heard it in the news, a move, the grand jury testimony and evidence that the DOJ wants to make public. They want to go through it. Maxwell doesn't want that either. And it goes further. There's going to be subpoenas. There's going to be depositions. I would argue whatever momentum the Obama distraction is gaining, the Epstein debacle, disgusting revelations are gaining at least equal amount of momentum. And you can say that this administration has brought this upon themselves. In one effort to block what they don't want you to see, and in another effort to try to distract and put the focus on Maxwell. And Todd Blanche was sent in to do the job.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things, pushing back, speaking up, and holding the line.
Quote, Jeffrey Epstein is dead, Ghislaine Maxwell is not, end quote. That is how Ghislaine Maxwell's opening her argument against the Trump administration's push to unseal some of the grand jury transcripts. In a new filing today, her attorneys write this, quote, whatever interest the public may have in Epstein, that interest cannot justify a broad intrusion into grand jury secrecy in a case where the defendant is alive, her legal options are viable, and her due process rights remain, end quote. Maxwell is appealing her sex trafficking conviction and has asked the Supreme Court to take her case. She argues that releasing this grand jury information, which she hasn't even seen, could prejudice a potential retrial. As that happens, the Justice Department is weighing releasing a transcript of the interview that they conducted with the former Epstein accomplice last month. Senior administration sources telling CNN that some within the White House worry that releasing a transcript would cause this story to once again dominate headlines.
I feel like Maxwell's lawyer made a critical error here. Now, the DOJ is trying to get a grand jury evidence released for the public to try to get into this. They want to disseminate. They want to get into this for you, right? They want to be transparent. But they know how limited a grand jury, the type of evidence released in the grand jury, from the grand jury, how limited it will be. How it will be just a repeat of a lot of facts that the public already knows. It won't give them lists. It won't give them, blackmail books. It won't give them tawdry details. It's pretty limited on what would be released if it were approved. But they also know the chances of it being approved are slim. The legal standing to get this evidence released, slim for the DOJ. And here's where Maxwell's lawyer may have made a misstep. You see, Maxwell's lawyer, on behalf of Maxwell, is saying, you can't release those because I'm waiting for the Supreme Court to take a look at my case. And if you release the evidence from the grand jury, it's going to affect how they perceive my case. It might adjust them unfairly. Here's where he messed up, in my opinion. He shouldn't have said that unless it actually looked like this grand jury evidence would be released. He should have waited, because my perception from what he said here, from their ardent stance that this evidence shouldn't be released, they're so against it. Why? Why? We're going to hear from sympathetic news outlets that are going to tell you maybe the court proceeding was rigged against Maxwell and she was unjustly convicted. That's what they're going to tell you. If that were true, wouldn't releasing the grand jury evidence help her case? Wouldn't more clarity, more transparency on how the court proceedings evolved, wouldn't that help her? If she was railroaded into these convictions? No, it's gone the other way. Hey, don't release that. It could unfairly influence the Supreme Court's decision. Please don't release it. We're against the releasing it. But what do you have to hide? If you're innocent or you were railroaded or unjustly prosecuted, what do you have to hide? He should have waited. He should have waited to see if this grand jury evidence was even a thing. Because right now, legal experts are saying the DOJ has very little standing to get this evidence released. Very little standing. And now they're saying, hey, more transparency. We're going to release the tapes of her 2-day interview where they discussed over 100 people involved with this case. I don't trust that. They already said it would be highly redacted. They said, hey, we'll release the redacted interview. Well, what are you redacting? If Trump's not in here and Trump allies aren't in here and you believe in full transparency, why are you going to redact any of that? Why? Why redact? You want to hear some sympathetic reporting on this story? You want to hear some bat crap crazy? And I mean, if you want to go bat crap crazy these days, you can't look to Fox. They've been sued to hell and back. They are being a little more careful these days. You want the bat crap crazy? The real nuts? You know where to go.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell didn't have a friend in the world. He could have easily gotten away with saying, what the media wanted to hear. But he didn't. And I find that remarkably human, and it's telling, and it signals to me that there's something else going on here and that it's an injustice. It reminds me of when President Trump, among anybody in the country really in public office, he would talk about Ashley Babbitt. Do you remember that? And he gained nothing, really, politically, from talking about that. I mean, he scored points with me and those who know the truth about Ashley Babbitt, but there are a lot of folks, Republicans even, a lot of folks did not want to talk about January 6th. He did. He did.
Oh, did he?
Reminds me of the kind of this, has the same feel.
What?
Ghislaine Maxwell, he would talk about, and he did it in a certain way. Now, folks, I know people are horrified when I say there's a possibility that this individual just might be innocent. But think about it. Who's told us about her? The most reviled institutions in America, right? The media and the Biden Justice Department.
Oh, my God.
Right? They did the heavy lifting on this stuff.
That's Greg Kelly from Newsmax, who is trying desperately to punch his ticket to hell. I'll give him credit. That is a take you won't hear anywhere else. For good damn reason. He's talking about injustice, tying the injustice of the Ashley Babbitt situation to the injustice of Maxwell's unjustified conviction. Greg Kelly, are you serious? Holy crap. We've seen the video, by the way, of Ashley Babbitt trying to force her way into the Capitol building. We saw why she got shot. If you watch the video, there is no doubt in your mind why she got shot. But that aside, you want to defend Ashley Babbitt? That's a popular fringe right-wing talking point. Go join them. Go on Reddit and talk about it, what a hero she was. I don't care. I'm over that. But you want to tie injustice not just to Ashley Babbitt, but to Ghislaine Maxwell? And you talk about who told us about Maxwell, the most reviled sources ever, Biden, and the fake news media told us about Maxwell. No. Julie K. Brown's reporting out of the Miami Herald told us plenty about Ghislaine Maxwell. Plenty. The victims told us a whole lot about Ghislaine Maxwell. He says that she recruited young victims, made a pyramid scheme out of having the young victims recruit young victims. She prepped them, and then she was present for the sexual abuse. Present, not like in the building, like 2 feet away. I really hope the victims of this tragedy do not catch wind of that, because that is going to crush their souls. That somebody would go on a media outlet the size of Newsmax and say something like that. It makes you want to cry for them. It's, I don't throw it around easy or lightly, but it's evil. He continues.
Oh boy, there he is again. Jeffrey Epstein. Annoying story, isn't it, in so many ways, and kind of infuriating. All right. He beat the system kinda in death. Total monster, I believe it. Yeah, monster. He pled guilty to that horrible, sick stuff. But that doesn't mean that Ghislaine Maxwell is guilty. And there is a hell of a lot of evidence out there that she's innocent, and a hell of a lot of evidence that they railroaded her. Part of a deep state media hysterical plot. God. And I don't like it. And I don't care if it's unpopular. In fact, I'm kind of really impressed with President Trump right now that he won't be boxed in when it comes to this story.
Unpopular, Greg? I wish it was illegal what you're doing. I wish it was illegal. This transcends unpopular. I mean, you are being willfully evil. Why? Why would Newsmax do this? Why would Greg Kelly agree to going on air and saying these things? Well, on the surface, you could say, oh, geez, if they're feeding this to the base, maybe they're prepping them for a possible Trump pardon, right? If he keeps spewing this and you, the far fringy right, start believing that Ghislaine is the victim, oh my God, even coming out of my mouth. If you start believing that Ghislaine is the victim, that makes a Trump pardon of her a lot more palatable. If you believe she was railroaded, falsely prosecuted, innocent in all this, and you can reasonably in your own mind paint her as a victim, well then, at that point, a Trump pardon seems reasonable too. But it goes deeper. It goes deeper. You remember the 2008 sweetheart deal given to Jeffrey Epstein when he was initially charged. He received 13 to 18 months in jail, not prison. He was on a work release. All his co-conspirators at the time were protected, all under this non-prosecution deal granted to him by who? Future Trump labor director, future staunch ally of the Trump administration, Alex Acosta. Remember that name? Alex Acosta, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida? Yes, that Alex Acosta. How does he play into this? Well, Acosta, as of March 2025, joined the board of directors of Newsmax Inc. That's right. Possibly Epstein's greatest ally in all of this. The guy who handed him the sweetheart deal, covered his ass, and got a big old promotion because of it. He's back again. And this time, he's trying to cover for Ghislaine. Yes, he is on the board of directors at Newsmax. And he's got Greg Kelly out here punching his ticket to hell, calling Ghislaine a victim. I mean, you got to hand Newsmax at least this much credit. If they want to be the mouthpiece of this administration, if they want to be the state-run media that we eventually get, all others eliminated one by one, and all that's left standing will not be Fox. No, not anymore. It will be Newsmax. They are making a serious run at being the number one Trump-aligned media outlet, and they are obviously willing to say absolutely anything. Here's Trump.
Were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department?
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you did.
And do you believe that she is?
It's not a very uncommon thing.
I didn't know anything about it. Well, you already know that all he does is lie and project. So if he says something definitively, you can believe the opposite is true. I didn't know anything about it. That means he directed it. And what leads to evidence that he directed this move? And the move, by the way, is she was moved from a low security prison in Tallahassee to a minimum security prison camp in Bryan, Texas. And this directly followed Tom Hagen going down there and talking to Frankie Pantangeli himself. That this directly follows Todd Blanche and his 2-day interview with Ghislaine. She immediately is moved. What did she say or not say or get on board with? It makes you wonder. And experts are criticizing this move heavily. Okay, federal guidelines generally preclude minimum security housing for sex offenders serving long sentences. That is her. She is a sex offender serving a long sentence, and they are almost never afforded the amenities of a minimum security prison. Almost never. And to approve something like this, it is so rare, it can only come from the top echelons of the Justice Department, either at the state level or higher. Only the top officials can okay a move like this. This isn't some routine prisoner moving. This is extremely rare. Extremely rare. And he's going to sit there and tell you, I don't know nothing about nothing. No. Todd Blanche goes down there, interviews her for 2 days. She talks about 100+ people. And now they're willing to release a redacted version of that conversation. and she is immediately moved to minimum security prison. You don't have to be good at Tetris to put these pieces together. Like everything he does, it's right in your face. Right in your face. He's not trying to hide it anymore. He can't be indicted. He's never held responsible. Now there's nobody in the House or the Senate to hold him responsible, not till 2026 possibly. So he's just doing whatever the hell he wants to do. It's right in your face.
We'll be back to break it all down. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. You're back with Brett Breaks Things, because democracy doesn't defend itself.
The House Oversight Committee has just issued subpoenas for about a dozen of the very highest level former government officials. Ryan, tell us more about these subpoenas and how oversight settled on this list.
Well, this is not a surprise, Anna. Right before the August recess, and you're right, it was during the midst of a pretty contentious back and forth between the base of the Republican Party and the Republican leadership about the broader release of the Epstein files. The House Oversight Committee's, one of their subcommittees, during a conversation about a completely different topic, brought up this issue of the Epstein files, and Democrats attempted to force Republicans to vote on the release of those files. Republicans wanted to vote yes, but they also wanted other concessions from Democrats, and that was to bring in this long list of some of the most high-ranking officials who are in positions of power, who had the ability to investigate the Epstein saga over the course of the period of time in which Epstein was accused of making these crimes. And
okay. So, the Republican-led House Oversight Committee, led by James Comer, has subpoenaed all records involving Jeffrey Epstein. They've also subpoenaed Bill and Hillary Clinton and 8 former top law enforcement officials to testify under oath about the Epstein investigation. Anybody at the top levels who had anything to do with these investigations and these files have been subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee. It's funny, I'm going to give you this list. But let's listen to Jesse Waters real quick. Quick announcement out of Jesse about this.
Fox News alert. House Oversight just subpoenaed the Clintons and other top Democrats over the Epstein files. Bill, Hillary, Garland, Mueller, Eric Holder, and Comey. Just a few of the names called in for depositions.
Yeah, he left out a couple people, though. He left out Jeff Sessions, and he left out Merrick Garland. Or wait, Bill Barr, I'm sorry, Bill Barr. He left out Bill Barr, famous Trump ally, except all the way to the end. At the very end, Bill started telling the truth about Trump. But he left out ally Bill Barr and ally Jeff Sessions, right? But he named the rest of them. But I'll give you the list. So it's Bill and Hillary Clinton. They've been subpoenaed. James Comey, FBI director under President Obama and Trump, and Robert Mueller, FBI director under George W. Bush and later special counsel, subpoenaed. Also subpoenaed Bill Barr, Alberto Gonzalez, AG under Bush, Jeff Sessions, AG under Trump, Loretta Lynch, AG under Obama, Eric Holder, AG under Obama, and Merrick Garland, AG under Biden. They have been subpoenaed. They've got the dates set for all their subpoenas, for all of their depositions. Dates have been set. It's going to go on from August 18th to October 7th with those people. But Bill and Hillary, they're going to be the crescendo. As Bill and Hillary, that's going to be October 9th and October 14th. We're going to see those two get dragged into deposition over this. That's going to make great television, right? It's going to make great TV. We'll see how much actually happens, what actually comes from it. It's going to be a lot of contentious back and forth, a lot of theater, a lot of drama, a lot of grandstanding from Republicans. You know, we'll see. But this is moving. This is happening. The Republicans have subpoenaed all the Epstein files. The Republicans have also subpoenaed those people right there. So, I can't help but think about all of the accusations the Trump administration has leveled against Biden concerning, you had the files for so long, what did you do with them? A completely neutral point of view, if you were to look at these two administrations, both of them had their hands on the files. Trump originally in his first term, Biden, then Trump again. If you were completely neutral, disconnected from politicization at all, right? Completely disconnected from the tribal nature of what's going on, which administration do you think would adjust the files to suit their own narratives, to suit their own needs? Which one would actually tamper with the files? You might say maybe both of them, all of them, fine. That's how you feel, that's how you feel. I know how I feel about it. I know which administration constantly dabbles in malfeasance, cover-ups, the opposite of transparency, favors, crony capitalism, backdoor deals. I know which administration constantly dabbles in that behavior. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes from that. Earlier in the show, we're going to switch gears now. I mean, that's obviously developing. We're going to switch gears because I mentioned bat crap crazy, and I'm going to move this up. I mentioned bat crap crazy media. Well, you know who used to carry the torch for that? It's Fox News for years. And there was one person particularly that was featured on that network that would just say the craziest bleep. Just the craziest. And anytime we brought her up, Randy would immediately downshift into, and by the way, she's drunk. And we're not talking about Laura Ingraham, who she claimed was drunk every time she saw her and every time she's on the air. The other one that's constantly drunk, Jeanine Pirro. I didn't want to let this story just get shuffled away in some of the stuff that we didn't get to. I wanted to move this up because I know how you feel about Jeanine Pirro. You know how I feel about her. She's offensive, unprofessional, and most of all, unqualified for what she has been nominated for.
We have breaking news from the Senate floor. Just moments ago, the Senate voted to confirm former Fox host Jeanine Pirro to be the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Pirro was confirmed by a 50-45 vote along party lines. Pirro will be serving in that role now for 4 years. Senators Ruben Gallego, Mitch McConnell, Peter Welch, and Roger Wicker did not vote.
Yep. U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro, Judge Jeanine. Now in an official capacity, another insane sycophant plucked from Fox News and dropped into the highest levels of our administration. A little background on her. She earned her BA from the University of Buffalo. My sister went there. My brother went there. It's a beautiful campus. Their football team is getting better and better. That's where Khalil Mack played. Scott, I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, Khalil Mack, the Hall of Fame linebacker, former Bears linebacker, Khalil Mack, played for the University of Buffalo. She got her JD from Albany Law in 1975, served as the assistant district attorney, and then elected in 1990 as the first woman to the Westchester County Court judge. She has a few accolades here, but what we know her from is from saying insanely offensive crap on Fox News. That's where we know her. And she is deeply unqualified for this position. And people are trying to tell you a 50-45 confirmation right along tribal lines, deeply unqualified for this position.
Danny, I will go to you first. Our resident lawyer. Does she have the creds, the resume for this job?
Look, when it comes to appointments, I mean, you can often say people don't have the qualifications or do it. I mean, did she come through the ranks as an AUSA in the government as a prosecutor? No, but that is why the president gets to appoint people. Sometimes they don't appear to be someone who was always in that particular job. But, I mean, look, Trump has gone to Fox News. He's gone to places that presidents normally haven't gone to. And frankly, being both lawyer and working in TV, being a TV host, way better gig than U.S. attorney for any district.
So you're not like trying to put the message out there that you're trying to get one of these appointments right now.
We live in an era where, you know, someone who's on TV with regularity has a shot if they throw out a few pro-Trump comments.
You hear that, Jon Stewart? Did you hear what he said there? Please run for something, Jon Stewart. Please. I'm begging you. I digress. She's not qualified. Another hand-picked Fox News mouthpiece that is now inserted in, you know, influential positions in our government. And this one is just egregious. Schiff understands.
I mean, even her own people on Fox thought she couldn't be trusted to be on TV. On their own network. And after the show was briefly taken off the air, Fox News producer Justin Wells described they took her off because she was crazy. Optics are bad, but she's crazy. Well, her own executive producer also described her as nuts. Are we going to put someone that even Fox, and I'm not a particular fan of Fox, but even Fox thought was crazy, nuts, couldn't be trusted on live television? We're going to trust her with the lives and liberty of people in the District of Columbia?
You want to see what he's talking about? Because right now you're trying to think of some of her more outstanding moments, right? But you don't watch Fox News. You don't delve in and commit it to memory. You try to expel anything you hear on Fox News immediately from your memory. I get it. Me too. So what did we do? We went and grabbed some of her best moments. You're welcome. And I thought to myself, hey, MAGA, listen to this bat crap crazy representative of your perspective, your point of view, the ones that represent what you care about. Check this out. You should be offended. No, it's not how it works. See, the Fox News audience is going to see this mashup, all of these different clips I'm about to play you, and they're going to agree with everything she says. So this is just for our own anger amusement. You want to hear? Let's do it.
Think about it. Omar wears a hijab.
Omar wears a hijab.
According to the Quran, 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
We need to kill them.
Whoa.
We need to kill them.
No.
The radical Muslim terrorists hell-bent on killing us.
No.
You're in danger. I'm in danger. We're at war, and this is not going to stop. And make no mistake, as sure as I'm talking to you, there will be efforts to limit our First Amendment, our free speech, to comply with Sharia blasphemy laws, which call for death to those who slander the Prophet Muhammad. And when they want to shut us up, they call us Islamophobes.
I kind of wish she would slander the Prophet Muhammad on air. I kind of wish she would. I mean, she's smiling. Death to you, death to me, death, 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 with a smile on her face. Nobody's limiting your First Amendment rights, Jeanine. We're going to let you talk, because when you do, we all see you for what you are. So why would anybody try to stifle you? You're insane. Display your insanity for the world to see, Jeanine. We have no problem with it, and she did.
We've got people being released at the border right now who've got COVID. They've got COVID. They've got all kinds of diseases. They are being released into the United States.
It's so funny. I mean, that was her charming insight on immigrants. We're just going to hit you rapid fire real quick.
And I've heard that number before, $2 million that he's spending to not have to show the birth certificate. There is a cleansing needed in our FBI and Department of Justice, who should not just be fired, but who need to be taken out in handcuffs.
What?
Like a crime family in the movies, except this time the FBI is the crime family.
Was there hypnosis? Are they using confabulation? And I don't want to get into the weeds here, but you know what? This is the kind of thing where they have a right to true cross-examination.
Omar wears a hijab.
Omar wears it. I wish you would get into the weeds, Jeanine, instead of the 3 martini lunches. Maybe you'd make a little more sense if you got into the weeds. Omar wears a hijab. She's entertaining. A great pick for our U.S. District Attorney of D.C.? No, not qualified. Entertaining? Right on brand for Fox Insanity? I mean, she honestly should be on Newsmax at this point, right? With that kind of rhetoric. They don't dabble in that kind of rhetoric anymore on Fox. She's out of there, right? Now it falls on Greg Kelly to say the insane, evil garbage that nobody in their right mind would ever say with a camera working and a microphone active. Nope, but now she's attorney for D.C. 50-45 was the vote. Right along party lines, as usual.
They'll try to repair the narrative, but Brett Breaks Things will be back tomorrow to break it all down.